or even going to a waiter sweep, there's a lot of openings that I can get from it, right? So I'm just going to start from a regular engagement here, then I'll even foot on the hip, and I'm going to try to get space between my hip and my partner's leg so that I can shoot my hand through. And this could happen off of me voluntarily wanting to play the shin grab game, or how it came about to me was if my partner breaks my de la riva, right? Because when I'm doing shin grab, my de la riva needs to come off. Sometimes you could be playing, that could be your main goal at first, but then when he breaks, you can still go with it. The only big difference is that I'm gonna have to make room. You see how I went from having my hip right in to having it on the side? That gives me space between our legs so my arm goes through. The angle that I get when I do this is very important. I might feel like I have it, so I could be grabbing my shin and be kind of on my shoulders, but it's not going to give me enough control to get his leg off the ground later on. So make sure that you're really turning on your side, that the crook of your arm is going around the ankle, and that you're cupping your shin high up, as close to the knee as you can, okay? I'm not going to have the de la riva, but I'm going to keep this by. We're only going to work on getting his leg off the ground. And because we're working the gi here, I'm going to try to go same side collar for this. Of course, you are allowed to go cross collar. I just personally like going same side for this better. And with my free foot, I'm going to work on trying to get my hip in. But for me to get my hip in, I'm going to push me out back first, not too much, just a little bit, and I'm going to turn this into a hook. There's a big difference between pulling his leg and then kicking his leg and then going sideways. And you could do that, I just think it's a lot harder, and sliding in. So look at how after I make me out, take that step back and I hook on it, how I'm going to slide my hip inside without changing the angle, and just this by itself, see how his hands are already going on the ground, makes it a lot easier for now with this shin to start kicking him out and turning on my side. I want the top person for now to land on the knees, guys. It's going to be a lot easier for us to just explain and talk about it. And if he stays kind of hoppy on that foot and on his hand, it's going to be very awkward. So drop on your knees so that the bottom person really has the understanding of going on their side so that this foot comes off the ground. Now, on the same stuff here, we have another option in case I can't kick that leg out. So, for example, if I do the same thing, right? Push him back, slide in, but then I'm having a real hard time kicking him on this side, we can work on a hook on this leg. Just make sure that the hook goes behind the knee, and then you do the same thing. You start lifting, pushing your partner off to the side, and then we get to the end goal. And later on, when we start working on options, we'll see how much the hook behind the knee helps prevents my partner from stepping back down. The main thing I want you guys to think when you're here is not only getting to this position, is how can I work on not letting me out step back on the ground. So of course I can use this foot to kind of frame, but the more we get used to this hook under the knee, not under the butt, the better. Because if I'm here and I start pulling out close and I allow him to step, he's going to pressure into my hip in a very bad way for me. So make sure that when you get on your side and you lift this foot, keep this hook lifting the knee. Even if your out gets close to it, if you're hooking on the knee and lifting and creating this angle here, it's going to be very hard for him to step, okay? So just one more time, we're going to go shin grab on the inside, same side collar, make room, go all the way through, push him back, hook on it. Now don't try to move his leg, move yourself in. Use the hook and the grip to slide in, start kicking out either on the same leg or on the near hook. If you do the hip in right, you should be able to kick on that same leg you have hooked and just turn with it, okay? So just setting it up, guys. Top person, stay engaged, and especially when your partner does get your leg off, just post your knee, face your partner, so it's a little easier for us to work later on, okay? Let's go, guys. Partner up. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Feel that when we get this leg off the ground, so I bite deep, I use this collar grip to not only slide myself in, but to yank me out to the side as I'm moving. Whenever we get here, if there is a gap between the elbow and the knee, my partner's posting both hands, or if he's not really blocking my leg, you are open to keep his leg elevated and start fumbling in, right? We've done a lot of this options. We can come up, different attacks from here. But what I had you guys work on more is taking advantage of being in this position, especially using the hook, instead of pushing on my partner's far leg, hooking onto the near knee, we end up here. I see a lot of you guys end up here, right? And this is a position where it's not only that I'm not going to be able to keep going with my attacks, but it's going to compromise my hip for sure, because my hand is now fading, like my hand is going down my shin, meaning my control is getting weak, and Meow is smashing the top of my legs over here in a way where he's going to turn my knees both to the same side, and he's going to really start controlling my hip. So it's fine to stop flat on your back, as long as this hook's still going up. Just don't let this foot get close to the ground enough where he can step it on the ground, right? Now I'm going to move this way so you can see better. So now, from here, if I wanted to and if I could, I can take advantage of having this hook to create a bigger bend on the leg, move my knee over the knee line, and dive under to the waiter, right? You guys did it last week. We can practice again, start coming up, work the different kind of attacks from there. But what if I can't? What if I'm here and I'm really stuck and my partner's leg is too stiff? A lot of times with a stiff leg, my partner is also going to have a higher posture, I feel. So for me to not be able to bend his leg, I feel like the chest is going to be very high. And when the chest is very high, it creates a bigger gap in between the legs. So look what we're going to do. I'm going to start with the hand behind the thigh, and I'm going to use that to dive in. From here, I feel like his leg is a tree. I just can't bend it, and I'm going to have to try to get behind me out. So look at how my hand is going to look for a grip underneath my partner's belt or underneath my partner's pants and right on the center. A lot of times when we get here, we tend to get a grip on the side or on the other side, but for this specific scenario, I want my grip to be right on the center of the hip, right? Now, you see how I have one shin behind and one leg in front? I'm going to create a big tension here, but when I create tension, it's different than what we're doing before. If I want to create an angle and bend his leg and elevate, toes go up. If I want to create tension, toes go down and my shin goes up. So you see how this one's biting in, this one's driving forward, and I'm going to start sliding in between his legs. It's just very important as we do that, I don't lose my leg control and I let go of my hand so I can start getting behind. And again, this can be tricky at first, but once we get here, the biggest benefit I feel from getting to this tension position of the leg is not only getting a back exposure to start attacking the back, it is that it's very hard for Meow to turn into me. Whenever I get to the back, so if I got to his back and I was loose, or even if I had a hook already, Meow can move very quickly, right? But if I get with this tension on the knee, it's very hard for him to move, and it gives me time to get my hook in, square off with him, and I'll just take the back. Remember, for attacking the crab ride, with one knee down and one leg up, I'm only extending the leg up side. But I need to load. If you push, nothing happens. So make Meow sit on you, and look at how I drop. Especially when Meow has one knee down, instead of pushing on the knee, drop to the ankle. Makes it a lot smoother to make him sit, and then we can go seatbelt, first hook, and start falling to the side. Okay? So again, if you're used to it and you want to practice the weight, if you want to practice your single leg axe setup, that's okay. But we're going to focus also on just a stiff leg. So I go push back, hip in, yank him to the side. Meow tries to come back. I use the hook on the near leg to create an angle where his foot doesn't step on the floor. That gives me a couple options. I can start going on the thigh, dive, dive, dive to deep half, and I could maybe go for the waiter, right? Get him here, start sweeping. But what if I can't? If I feel like the leg is too stiff, okay, I try to dive, I realize I can't bend Meow's leg, I'm going to start looking for a grip on the center of the hip. This grip helps me slide out. So look at how I start sliding, my hand comes off, and I push Meow forward. Very important that you don't cross your feet, guys. Keep your feet parallel. The only way to keep the knee going forward and the heel coming back is with parallel legs, and now it's a little bit easier for me to switch to my hook, square off Meow, load, start extending and going to the back. Okay, so again, it is not the easiest thing to do, but it is a good option that you guys have there. We worked a lot on coming out that back door last week. It wasn't with the same elevation hooks, a little different, but it's just something similar, guys. So just kind of play with it a little. And again, try to think about the waiter when you're there. Try to think about the single leg axe setups that are there, just so you guys have more to work with when you're drilling. Okay? Let's go, guys. A very strong hip control position. It breaks apart like the control that he had, especially if you start going shin over to shin. And not only you defend, but you put yourself in a very good spot to start working past it. So try to have that as your goal. If your foot comes back on the ground, you can be active. If your foot stays elevated, you can ride in his train, you know? So 2 minutes top, 2 minutes bottom. Even if you guys switch positions, so if Meow loses my leg and end up his closed guard or his open guard, whatever it is, where we haven't scored yet, keep going, okay? So try, especially the bottom person, as much as you can to work on it, guys. So if you can't sweep right away, just try to work on not letting your partner step back down. It's going to be a good way of your reading reactions, understanding how he can try to get out, how he can try to pass, and it'll help you guys develop attacks as you work on it more and more. Okay, top person, make it hard for your partner. Try to step back on the ground and pass. Okay, let's go, guys. 1, 2, 3.